ZHANGJIAKOU, China, go ahead and call it redemption. Just know that Lindsey Jacobellis has never thought of it that way. That was not in my mind, Jacobellis, 36, said not long after she secured Team USA's first gold medal of the 2022 Winter Olympics. I wanted to just come here and compete. It would have been a nice, sweet thing, but I think if I tried to spin the thought of redemption, then it's not the task at hand. And that's not why I race. That's not why I've been a competitor. Go ahead and keep bringing up 2006 whispering about the fall on the second to last jump of the women's snowboard cross final because she dared show some emotion while performing on the world's biggest stage. Continue discussing the drop from gold to silver because of it, and the supposed haunting that followed her throughout an otherwise illustrious career. They can keep talking about all they want, Jacobellis said from the base of Genting Snowpark, because it really shaped me into the individual that I am and kept me hungry and really kept me fighting in the sport. Had she not cost herself gold 16 years ago, then what transpired here Wednesday almost certainly would not have happened. She would be a completely different person. The generation of female snowboarders she inspired would not have a role model they deeply admire. Crossing that finish line first that day would have led to her quitting the sport, she said. I wasn't really having fun with it, Jacobellis said. There was so much pressure on me to be the golden girl. Those expectations had almost completely dissipated ahead of Wednesday's event, the fifth time Jacobellis competed at the Olympics. At 36, she is oldest female gold medal winner at a Winter Olympics. She was the lone boarder born in the 1980s in Wednesday's field, the oldest by at least 6 years. A podium finish, particularly the top spot on it, had eluded her since Torino. She considered making the finals, something she missed in 2010, 5th, and 2014, 5th. At the last Olympics, she missed out on a bronze medal by a hair and came in 4th. Jacobellis could have rested her laurels on the 5 world championships she's won, or the 10 X Games titles to her name. The most decorated women's snowboard cross racer of all time wasn't going to let the final Horcrux, a missing Olympic gold, serve as the measuring stick of her career. It was definitely a possibility, Jacobellis said, acknowledging her career could have ended without an Olympic gold. And I had that in my mind, but knowing that that's okay, if that doesn't come. That it doesn't define who you are a person or who you are as an athlete. Any lady had the ability to come out here and win, really. And that's how our sport can work at times. It's just a roll of the dice, sometimes. It's how the stars are aligned. How your body's feeling. How your board is running. The body clearly felt fine Wednesday, and the board ran smooth. Jacobellis placed 5th in the qualifying round of 32 and then won the next 4 heats to claim gold. In the final, she heard silver medalist Chloe Trespuc of France on her tail the whole way. Trespuc wasn't in her peripherals by the final jump, which she took low this time, she said. Jacobellis appeared to put her hand on her heart upon crossing the finish line. That wasn't a sign of relief. She was trying to fill her lungs with warm air after a long day on the mountain. It kind of just seemed like an unbelievable moment, Jacobellis said. It didn't seem real at the time. I had to take a hot lap. She added. This feels incredible, because this level that all the women are riding at is a lot higher than it was 16 years ago. Beijing text updates. Get behind the scenes access to the Winter Olympics. Never miss a moment. Subscribe to our Olympics newsletter to stay informed. And she can thank herself for that. I was watching her in the Olympics before I even got into the sport, said Australian Belle Brockhoff, 28, who finished in 4th place. I would use her as an inspiration for what kind of boards I wanted to use, bindings, boots, everything, for her to come out here and not give up is pretty inspirational. American teammate Stacey Gaskill, 7th place, also grew up watching Jacobellis. Realizing her hero had won gold, the 21-year-old had tears in her light blue eyes at the base of the mountain after her last race. She is the face of this sport. To see her win, and finally get back on top of the podium, it means everything to all of us, especially Lindsey. We're all so proud, Gaskill said. I think Lindsey is unlike a lot of other athletes, Gaskill added. She knows the ability that she has and she knows the influence she has, it's so inspiring to me. I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to ride with the greatest of all time. That place in the sport's history, her legacy throughout women's sports, is not lost on Jacobellis. What I've accomplished in this sport, and how I've elevated this sport, is huge and instrumental in how this sport moves forward, she said. I'm really happy that I've been shaping this sport for women for the past 2 decades. That's, I would say, a pretty rare thing. During the pandemic, Jacobellis has spent a lot of time training in Europe. Visits back to the States were rare, which meant her 16-year-old Yorkshire Terrier named Gidget lived with her parents. The stray she adopted after the 2014 Sochi Games has been commandeered by her father full-time, she said. She received her personal trainer license and became the author of a children's book within the last couple of years. On the mountain, Jacobellis hadn't won a world championship since 2017, her longest drought since the first came in 2005 as a teenager. I would say she was not performing, American Faye Galini said, assessing her teammates' performance prior to the most recent training cycle. But she turned it around, and she worked her butt off. It shows. Our sport's different. It's unique in the sense you can do it at an older age. You gain this wisdom and this course experience that these younger athletes don't have. That ends up being your best tool, is your mind. Galini referred to Jacobellis' mind and wisdom in a tactical sense on the course. But Jacobellis said it was her mentality over the years that allowed her to escape the chains of expectation, which can hamper greener athletes. And Jacobellis has something to say to those who feel like they haven't met the lofty goals others set for them. If you made it to this stage, you're a winner, she said. Look at what you've learned from the experience and take that with you later in life. In that case, Lindsey Jacobellis is living proof of her own advice.